Hi, it's Awaken with Joy Lynn today, and I am just on my way to Alpena to visit my friend Amy. She wanted me to come up there and visit her for a while, so I am hauling her 10 chickens in my blue truck. So anyway, that's what I'm up to today. But I thought I would stop. I don't know where I'm at, Atlanta or somewhere between my sisters and a peanut. So anyway, this is like the most boring trip too. I don't know. I don't know if anybody has ever taken that trip to Alpena, but you're just like nothing's out here. So anyway, I just wanted to stop and talk to you about being humble and how we're all going to be humbled through this process of awakening. Not one group is going to not be humbled by God through this process. So it's okay to put your ego aside and be humbled because each and every one of us are going to be like, feel like we've been kicked in the face when we realize what control systems we've been under. They have us, I mean, the medical system, the court system, the police, the religious system, the LGBTQ, that's all manipulation. Everything in this reality has been to manipulate us and keep us in a control um, little prison planet here. But the problem is we don't realize that we're in a cell. So some of us are like, hey, the door is open to the cell. You can actually get out. You just have to walk out like it's open. It's not even locked. Like you can literally just walk it out, walk out of it. But most people don't realize they're even in the cell, the prison cell. So it's very hard when you can actually when God wakes you up in a world that can't see, and then you see everybody else just being okay with being controlled. You're like, huh? This is why I think so many end up being homeless too, because they do wake up. And I had a friend that told me to find Jesus in the streets, and I was shocked to see how many people were enlightened and spiritual in the homeless community. I'm like, wow, these people know shit, And I'm thinking this probably because they awakened to realize they were in a control system. And then your soul, when you realize that, your soul does absolutely everything it can to reject this reality because it's not of God. It's what they call it Yaldabaoth, because there's a Lord God that's controlling all of this, right? When you bypass that and go straight to the true God, though, you see that all of this is just controlled shit show. And then you're like, I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that. And then we try to get on here and tell you, and then we get taken down. And that's what my last video got taken down yesterday on TikTok, because I apparently said too much truth. And me, I just spit it out there. That's how I am with my book. I just like put it out there. If you can handle me, you can. If you can, that's okay. Just find somebody that you can handle. But I don't like to play head games. I don't like to play, all that. I just like to spit it out there, see how it goes. And, um, sometimes it's a little triggering, but like I said, we're all being triggered during this time, and triggers are a path to healing because you can look at yourself, because everything is reflection. So or projection, like if you're mad at somebody for some reason and you don't know, you're just upset and you can't, something's triggering you, that's something within you that's not healed. So when you realize that, so it's hard to be mad at anybody. You can't be any mad at anybody anymore when you're uh to a certain level of awakening. I don't know how to explain it. When you've got God in you, enough, you're like, I can't even be mad at anybody. So it's really cool, actually. And then you feel good in your own skin. You don't have to sit there and prove you're, male or female or black or white. Like you don't even, that doesn't even matter. They're literally bending spoons at the Monroe Institute. Like people are learning how to do this stuff. So that's just boring now. Like the whole male, masculine, or the whole, pronouns. And, if I'm a furry, like that's old news. Like we have so much more cool stuff to learn now. Like that's boring. That when you realize what we're capable of, and when our clairs start popping, and telekinesis and all the stuff we're learning how to do, it's like, oh my, all that stuff's just boring. So anyway, but I wanted to get on here and say that we are all going to be humbled during this time. Everyone that, all the MAGA people that think, oh my God, this is just a way, and like, you're going to be humbled. Um, the Pride Flag people, they're going to be humbled when they realize and then they're going to be pissed. All you people are going to be so pissed, and they're really woke up. And this is just normal. It's a normal process when it really hits you. It's like, a grandma that's made a cake this certain way her whole freaking life with this certain ingredients, and then you go up to your grandma and say, Grandma, that's all poison. All those ingredients are absolute poison, and you're gonna have to now use gluten-free flour or almond flour or whatever in your recipe that you perfected, and now you can't use any of that ingredients, and because of this and this, and they use, they put metals in your nanoplastics and all this stuff in your ingredients, so we can't use that anymore, okay? And she's going to be pissed. She's going to be so pissed, and she's going to probably tell you, no, I've made it this way for my whole life, and I'm not changing, and you all suck, and I'm doing it my way anyway. Like, that's probably what she's going to say, right? Because nobody wants to change the recipe of how they did things. If it's really good, why would you want to change it, right? So, but that's the process we're kind of going through. It's like everything we've been taught by the school system, when people realize what that is, that's going to blow minds. Even the dentists, oh my gosh, what the hell they manipulate us through our teeth. Good Lord, that rabbit hole is awful. Um, so many things have been done just to get our just to keep us under this control. And then you tell people, we don't have to do this. We don't have to live like this. When you really connect with God and you see that, you don't have to live like this, and you don't have to be constantly micromanaged and controlled like you're a true sovereign being. When that hits you, you're like, I don't want to participate in any of it. I don't want to do it. I don't want it. And then you try to escape, and then you try to escape the reality, like, and they call it escapism. And so then you have to reel that back in, and like, no, this is our experience. This is what God wants us to come here and do. So then you have to, what they call, integrate. So you have to really learn how to flow with life instead of fighting it all the time. And that's why so many of us that have woken up, they call it chosen. You literally choose to be chosen. You literally choose if you want to wake up or not. Some people are not meant to wake up, and they're not going to choose to do that. So, that's fine. Stay asleep, whatever you want to do. But during this time period, we have the opportunity, the veil is thinning. We have the opportunity to ascend, like Jesus came back to teach us, that religion tried to hide that he was teaching. And that's one thing too. Like, I was so confused on what Jesus was here to do. Like, why would you come back here just to die? And then, like, I'd die for your. I didn't understand that when I was little, and I've throughout my whole life. And then I then I realized what he actually came back to do. I'm like, for the love of God, it makes sense now. Finally, it makes sense. He was doing something other than just coming back to die for our sins, because that made absolutely no sense to me. So the fact that he came back here to chew out and at, whip the asses of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, which they do say in the Bible, the religious leaders, and then let the people go so they could ascend past the lower G God that's in the control of this matrix, to bypass that God into the actual God. I'm like, well, that makes a whole hell of a lot more sense than what they told us. So anyway, as I'm learning this stuff, I'm like, everything is starting to like make sense, and I'm connecting dots. And that's another thing, reason they don't want us talking together, because when you get with another person that's starting to wake up, boy, can you connect dots fast. So that's why probably all this stuff happened in 2020, to disconnect us, so we don't even know how to talk to each other or say hi to our neighbors. So that's one thing we need to work on, is getting out and actually saying hello to our neighbors and learning how to talk to each other again. But anyway, we are all going to be humbled through this process, and that's a good thing. We need to get all a good humbling during this time. So anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Thank you. Have a great day.